You look cute, child.
Thank you, boo.
Pastor, I'm sorry.
You know me that long.
Now your volume gone.
I think you shut it off for a second. It should be coming back. Oh, wow. Oh, wait. Don't I have to share it to my personal page? Ain't that what I got to do? No?
Okay. You should see the whatchamacallits in the monitors.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see the comments as they come up.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm going to cut back on the audio and switch you over. You want to start solo or with the triple box?
Solo. And then we'll bring them in.
Can't hear nothing. If anybody listening.
They said they don't hear nothing. They don't hear me. Oh.
Because the audio's out.
Yeah, the audio's out.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. It's coming back in. Okay, we'll just do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. No? That's not it? No? They're not here? Oh, I see me now. I see me. Am I on? I'm live. You know we always testing. Whatever we do, we is always test 1, test 2, test 1, 1, 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is how we see it. Yes, 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 and yes. Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new territory. We launch into new mindset. We launch into new relationship. You ready? Are you? Listen. I am ready because this is epic. So just so y'all know, like this literally just happened, and we do stuff. We do stuff. The Pastor Chira Show, we're always doing something. We're always coming up with something. And today there were some things that happened. There were some conversations that happened that caused us to say, listen, we need to share. And we all need to be in this conversation, and we need to share it with others so that we can help others that are out there that are potentially going through some of these situations. And so we all know that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And, we all at different stages, different seasons in our lives go through some things. And I have two, did I say amazing? Amazing. Two amazing women that are going to join me in this overcomers conversation. Who am I talking about? Well, one is someone that I have known for a very long time. Since she was a teenager and I was in my early 20s. It's a long time. Y'all might know how old I am, but I ain't gonna tell you. But it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And I am just in awe that I text her today and she was like, sure, no problem. Listen, y'all want this young lady right here is amazing. And who am I talking about? I am talking about none other than she is the Maxine James. Yes, I'm so excited. Woo! Maxie Max. Hey, Maxie Max. Hi. And then I have an amazing woman who I have recently met. But if you hear us talk, it sounds like we have known each other all of our lives. Every time we go into a conversation. And I just love her spirit, just who she is as a person and all that never mind. I'm talking about none other than because there is only one. You can't get and you won't get another one. The Overseer LaTanya Banks. Come on in. Yes.
Woo!
Woo! I'm so excited. Hey y'all. Hey
Yes.
y'all.
Hey, hey, hey.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to have both of you on with me tonight in this conversation because you two, I'm going to cry.
Don't start. Look, I got, got tissue. I got
Right.
tissue.
Don't you do it. Don't you do
Oh.
it.
Woo!
First, I want to say thank you for coming on and being in this conversation and sharing your stories because literally, like I shared with you not long ago, as I was preparing and we were getting ready for this, I literally heard the scripture, Revelations chapter 12 and 11, and some would argue with me and say this doesn't fit, but it fit for where we are right now, in regards to the conversation that we are about to have, and it was, ooh, I just never mind. So the scripture is, it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. And so I literally heard that you both you're just two of many, but you are definitely overcomers by the word of your testimony. So, but before we get into the conversation, can you just introduce yourselves to the viewing audience? Go ahead, Max. Let them know who you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maxine, and I am by career. I am an accounting manager. I work for a robotics company. We build robot dogs that are used in the military. Fire departments use them. Police can use them. We have like different companies like universities and even overseas customers. And they're basically dogs that are used for surveillance, where you can send a dog to observe and check out certain danger zones or just for security purposes. Their eyes are like cameras and just different things that can be done with them. So I kind of work and manage all of the finances for this company. I'm a tax preparer also by trade. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me and what I do for a living.
A little bit. I
A little
mean,
bit, right?
a little bit. Because there is so much to you that is just amazing. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But Overseer Banks, can you introduce yourself to everyone tonight?
Yes, yes. LaTanya Banks, or Overseer LaTanya Banks, and I'm in Dallas by way of California, born and raised. And I've been
Right.
in Dallas, it will be 6 years, 6 years
Mhm.
in July. Time has gone by fast. And so my profession, I don't know if it's my profession, but the one I have currently, I'm back in HR, which that's like a foundation a little bit, but I am in HR. I'm a recruitment talent acquisition coordinator. Yeah. hmm
Mm.
So that's one of many things, but that's what I'm able to do at this moment. Yes.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. I hear some change in the works. I hear some things that are in the rustlings that may be coming up in just a little bit.
Mm,
It's some things that are working out. And so thank you both for being with me because I cannot tell you my heart. Because you are sharing where you are today, and the careers that you have today. However, that wasn't always the testimony of how of what you've been doing and where you've been. And so, um, Overseer Banks, can you just share just a little bit of your career path, your career
Okay.
life path journey, and how
Okay.
you got to where you are today? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay. Okay. So my career goal or my desire was to be an anesthesiologist originally. I was a biochem pre-med major for 5 years. Um, I was biochemistry. I didn't do well, but I loved it because it was hard. So I was very intrigued by it. Um, and so when I got accepted into undergrad, I had to go back to work. So I then just majored in ethnic studies. So I did a double major and then finished a degree, my undergrad, because I was going to go to med school, and then that changed. So then I went into HR, and that was by way of, at the time, I was homeless, and then that's a whole nother story. But homeless at the time, went to a job fair, got hired. That's how I began the career in HR. Um, and so in doing HR, I obtained an MBA in human resource management and a couple graduate certificates while being homeless. And then that was my journey on to where I am now. But there was a 22-year gap where I didn't work, or I had part time work. I had a lot of temp assignments, and those temp assignments weren't always in HR. They were in administration, they were in case management, whatever I could kind of land, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
trying to get a job, and whatever the temp agency had available. So I went a few years without income. I also exhausted my 401k. And then as the journey kept, because it was 22 years, um, actually Kaiser Permanente is where I worked as a phlebotomist. And I left there in 2000, and I had not had a full-time job after that. But my goal was to go do research while I went to medical school. So I had a whole plan. Um, and so then after everything, divorce and a lot of things happened, um, I was just pretty much trying to get a job.
Right.
So then it ends up where I had not had a job. And then when I ended up making a life move to Texas,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't working. And after getting here, because I left everything and started over, um, I ended up getting a job with a temp agency. It was a call center. Never worked call center, but I did that. And then I worked at Starbucks. And I did those both for like 8 months, until I was referred into HR. And then I ended up in HR again.
And so all of this, you did all of this while
Hmm.
mothering two children, while
Yes.
managing divorce, while
Yes. Twice.
being
Hmm.
twice, while being a
Hmm.
first lady, while being an administrator of
Hmm.
ministries, all of these
Uh-huh.
things, all of this,
Hmm.
and not having a permanent full time position for 22 years. 22
Hmm.
years. We're going to put a pin in it right there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maxine, can you just tell
Yes.
a little bit, my God, today, a little bit about your story?
Um, so my story was kind of all over the place, not like in a negative way, but I was able to kind of stay within the guise of my career path. So like I went to school, I always worked while I went to school. Like I always worked full time, or I would put two part-time jobs together to try to make a full-time income, things like that, while I went to school. And it was very taxing, and it kind of, I will say, like going into being in school, it kind of affected my GPA in some
Mm-hmm.
ways, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and because you can't really focus because you have to work, then you have to balance all of that
Yeah.
time of studying and things like that. I passed, you know, which is
Mm-hmm.
good, but it was a lot of work and pressure. So then it would be times where, like when I went to get my MBA, I consulted so that I could have, if I needed to, a semester because of some like difficult courses, I was able to do that. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
could just not work and be able to go into that. But then I had a season where I was out of work for like a year in 2008. And it was really rough
Mm-hmm.
because I had actually just gotten like my first apartment on my own, and everything had like shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So lost the job. And after that, I think how what I started doing again was getting into temping
Mm-hmm.
again,
Mm-hmm.
until I was able to land something more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then even in that, even having full time work, I still used to do part time gigs
Mm-hmm.
because no matter what, like between having student loan debt, the cost of living, just period,
Right.
and it's just
Mm-hmm.
being me taking care of me, you know, I had to make ends meet. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I definitely did. And, you know, but what I will say is that not being um, open to contract work
Mm-hmm.
uh, was a big lifesaver, you know,
Mm.
because and being able to be flexible to get whatever
Mm-hmm.
type to take whatever type of work that may have been available was a really good plus for me.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is it also helped me expand my skill sets
Mm-hmm.
in my
Mm-hmm.
actual career path. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So I would have
Mm-hmm.
to say that in and out and, you know, things like that. It was a lot of work, a lot of faith, a lot of, you know, sadness because you just don't know a lot of times. And it really would make you force you to actually have to just bathe and bask in faith. You know, like it really, really, really did strengthen and force me into a place where I
Yep.
had to trust God. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I that in
Mm-hmm.
one of the things, if I would say anything that was a blessing, it definitely helped me increase my faith and my walk with
Yes.
Christ.
So,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and yes, absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
again, you did all of this while managing family issues, while
hmm
taking care of your mom, while
hmm
managing just life in general and the things that life brought you through. And one of the things that put me allowed me to bring the two of you together was the conversation of temping, right? And not being able to land a full time
Mm-hmm.
permanent position, which would
Mm-hmm.
give you that stability, which would
right,
give you the the health care,
The
which would give
healthcare.
you the plan in order to help you to manage and save for retirement and things like that, because you never knew what was coming next. You
Mm-hmm.
never knew what was about to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and you never
That's right.
knew when you were going to have to shift
Mm-hmm.
and change
Mm-hmm.
and go into something else, because this was going to end, and you were going to have to go into another temp position, another job, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
whole learning curve all over again. And it's this constant change, this constant pivot that you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And what did that do for you in your mindset, and how did you manage those things? And before either of you answer that question, I want to say hi. I want to say hi to those that are joining us. Pastor Pompey, he's on. Overseer Robert Ferrer, hey, he's on. um, Pastor Overseer Wanda Leftwich, she's on. I want to say hey to everyone that is joining us in this conversation. And I want you to share. I want you to share because I know that this conversation is going to be empowering for others, because I know that there are others that are going through and that have gone through this type of situation, and they're trying to figure out, how am I going to keep it together? What do I need to do? Because
Mm.
I can't take it. I don't know when I'm going to get
Yeah.
that job. I don't know when that security's going to, I don't know. I don't know. And I need to know. And, dealing with the uncertainty, like, how was it
Mm.
dealing with the uncertainty every day, not
Every day.
knowing, every day dealing with the uncertainty? How did you deal with that? Either one of you.
I
Um,
could go.
yes, go ahead. Yes.
What I will say is, at
Mhm.
first going through it, it was a little discouraging, right? Um, it
Mhm.
was, trying to figure out like how to, you know, land something more permanent. And then as I started meeting different recruiters, it
Mm-hmm.
actually became a good thing for me. It became a learning process of learning how to maneuver in corporate America. It was learning how to take what you are doing at this specific time and being able to build up different skill sets, like not only just for the work that I was doing, but also things like building up my interviewing skills. Like
Okay.
right
Mhm.
now, I can interview anyone down. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing, how to go in to sell specifically what my skill sets are, how I could be a benefit or a help to this company that's
Mhm.
interested in bringing me in, and just having different abilities to jump in and learn quickly,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't, and that has
Mhm.
been that really strengthened my skill set. It strengthened my skill set in technology
Mm-hmm.
because I constantly had to learn different systems for different
Mhm.
companies. It also, even in that, from a life perspective thing, it forced me to really hone into things like budgeting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
saving,
Mm-hmm.
and if I would put it to scripture, it would make me think about like back in Genesis when Daniel interpreted the king's dream. And one of the things was, how God gave them warning about how it was going to be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. So what that taught me, like being a contractor, was about the importance of having a budget, managing a budget, and the importance of saving.
Yeah.
Because a lot
Mhm.
of times when we have money and we have stable income, a lot of people don't save. They're not putting money aside and
Yeah.
things like that.
Mhm.
So it really just exposed that
Mm-hmm.
need that I had to learn in
Right.
life,
Mm-hmm.
which really ties into the scriptures when it talks about being a good steward over the things that
Mhm.
God gives us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then one of the other things it did was I remember coming like actively quitting a full time job because the environment wasn't good.
Right.
And I
Mm.
left and I quit and went contracting. Because one thing I know at this point in my life is I know how to get an assignment in what I do.
Right.
And
Mhm.
what I doing, I think maybe two or three assignments in, I ended up landing an assignment that doubled my salary, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So it ended up learning these nuances in my industry, gaining these different skill sets to expand my knowledge in my industry. Like the consulting actually ended being a better thing for me
Mm-hmm.
in the end.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's definitely, I think, our perspective and
Mm-hmm.
our outlook of where we are at any time, be it good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
really tells the difference on how we maneuver through just the
Mhm.
challenges we may face in life
Right.
and even the good times that we face in life. I don't want to
Right.
keep talking over and over, but
No.
so I would say that,
No, you're
you know,
good. And
That's
that's,
good.
listen, and I knew, like I know that I have two conversationalists on the line with me. Like you both can, we can go in, like we can go in a conversation. So
Like, let
you're
me reel
good,
it
and right. No, no, no. But you're good. Um, Overseer, what would you say? Like, how would you say that you managed? What did it for you? Mm, we holding it together.
To keep from losing my mind, um, I wasn't getting responses from resumes, calling, so I wasn't getting um, the responses, right? I
Right.
wasn't getting the callbacks. I wasn't getting the interviews. When I
Mm,
did, they were far few in between, and they were telling me that I was overqualified.
mm,
So I was changing my resume and dumbing down, taking the degrees off, taking things off. Um, and to keep myself, I held on to one scripture
mm,
and I said, God, you promised. You said you'll never leave me nor forsake me. So I had to take one day at a time. So a lot of things that I'm used to, a lot of things that I like, I had to kind of eliminate some things because I couldn't do it or I couldn't have it while all serving in ministry. So the first divorce, or I say the second divorce, landed me immediately homeless because when I left, I left in a U-Haul truck.
mm,
Um, and when I left in that truck, I had no money. I wasn't working. A good friend, a first lady in LA, sent me $300 and I got a U-Haul truck. And my sons and I headed to San Diego with my mom. And every day when I took them to school, I went to IHOP and I would sit and because I couldn't drive back across town because that's gas. So I stayed on that side of town. And I was also in school getting my MBA.
mm-hmm,
So I used to go to the library and read. Um, they allowed me to be on the internet, because I got to know them hours at a time. And so I stayed positive, just tried to keep myself excited. I would remember the scripture that would tell me the blessings will have overtake you. So to me, I felt I had to be moving. So I used to go and encourage myself and go to furniture companies and look at furniture. And my mom used to ask me, "Girl, you're crazy. How are you going to look at furniture? You don't even have a job." And I said, "It's coming." That's all I kept saying. It's coming. It's
it's
coming.
coming. It's coming.
Cried a lot. Um, but I said, God, you promised.
Mm-hmm,
And so in the midst, I will continue. I will continue. So by the time I did get the job, and then I did get a place to stay, um, changed churches, of course.
mm-hmm,
And then that's a whole nother thing because when I was married to a pastor, and when we divorced, I was undecided if I was even going to stay in church. I didn't know what I was going to do.
mm-hmm.
A friend referred me to a church that didn't believe in women preachers. Well, I didn't care because I didn't know if I was going to be one anyway, still, right? Like I had the choice. But at the time,
Right.
walking through. But the mental part of it,
Right.
trying to stay sane. Don't call me nothing right now. I just trying to find out who LaTanya is. I
Mm-hmm,
have my sons. They said, Mom, if don't separate us. We're going to remain together.
mm-hmm,
Don't let me go. Don't let us go anywhere. If we sleep in the car, we sleep in the car. Um, I was homeless at that time for 8 months. Never slept in the car because I would always get a phone call. But the mental part of it, I would talk about it. That's
mm-hmm.
important.
Yeah.
It was no need to hide. It was, my sons and I had serious conversation. I had a
Mm-hmm.
high schooler and a junior high school, and we would talk. Um, Cried many times.
Yeah.
Got put out. Some people invite us over, wouldn't even answer the door when we got there.
Right.
Um, and so I said, God, but you promised.
Yeah. You promise.
So by the time when I was at the church I went to for about 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was feeling my strength coming back. Again, I had got a place, got a job, and was kind of getting stable. And then I ended up going to another ministry. And at that ministry, they were more familiar with me because the pastor had actually was on my catechism, so he ordained me as an elder. So he knew of me and the previous work and that kind of thing. So going in that ministry, I didn't move really fast. I had to take my time. But in that ministry, I began to move into different areas. So
Right.
I was elder, of course, and then I became congregational pastor, and I
Right.
ended up being executive pastor, and then I ended up getting elevated to overseer, and all that still trying to get a job.
Right.
And I
And that
knew,
and doing all that, trying to get a
yes,
job, trying to find somewhere to live, trying
mm-hmm,
right, trying to take care of your kids,
mm-hmm,
trying to
trying to,
trying to Max, you know, you're doing all that you did,
mm-hmm,
trying to find a full-time position, trying to make sure things are taken
yes,
care of, trying to take care of your mom, right? Like trying to,
Mhm.
and you know, looking for the support
mm-hmm,
and looking for those that would be there and that you could talk to and that you could cry to and that would be an encouragement and that would help just be there. Like, not always having something to say, but just knowing that there was somebody
because
there.
sometimes
Right.
people don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't know what to say, and you're in need. So you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about lack. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in this position of lack.
Mm-hmm.
I was in lack for 22 years where I'm helping other people get jobs. I'm helping other people get homes. I'm helping other people, right? Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the assignment, God doesn't change the assignment because of my
Right.
situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I held to the assignment, but I'm looking at everybody else and I'm like, oh my God, we get ready to go somewhere, but I'm the one that need help. And you
Right.
don't always want to ask because you're asking all the time.
Right. Right.
And God does put it on people's heart to bless you and to take care of you, you know? But it's a
Mhm.
burden.
On you.
That's a heavy weight for
Not a
me.
burden on somebody else, but it's a
But
burden
for me,
on me. Right.
and I don't
It
want to be a
like
burden to you because every time I show up, I need.
right.
Right.
Right. So, how did you deal with those kind of situations? Because Maxine, I understand that you went through some of these things too. Like, and you just like, I don't want to feel like I'm the needy one, or I'm the one that's showing up that everybody has to tiptoe around or
Hmm.
try to figure out. Like, how did you deal with those situations and circumstances yourself?
Like I either would be one of the things I looked at it like sometimes I would be there if my friends needed something done, I would help them out with that, or, so I just kept my behind home, you know.
They, right,
Seriously,
right.
because here's the thing, I have to really trust you
Yes.
to ask you for
Hmm.
something.
Yes.
I
Yes.
rather just sit
Hmm.
my behind home. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? If I
Hmm.
can't have it, I can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks,
Right,
but oh well,
right.
right?
Right.
Because that idea,
Hmm.
unfortunately, that is something God had to work with me on. Because I'll give. I don't have no problem with giving to people. I definitely have a problem with receiving, because of the
Receiving.
simple fact
Yes.
that people make you feel like you're a burden, right? And it's like
Yes.
I already, as an adult, you know, don't feel good about the fact that I can't provide for myself. You
Yes.
understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes.
Right.
And even in my
Yes.
time, I had a lot of loss. Like my first, it was my grandmother. All of this was
Come
starting as
on.
I'm becoming an adult and trying
Come
to
on.
learn and figure my adulthood out.
Right.
So even in that, like my support system was dwindling down as the
Yes.
years were going along. And even when I got into my first, finally stepped out and got my first apartment, it was like, dang, I got this place, like you said, and now I don't have no job, but again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It forced me to budget. Like I was getting unemployment
Mm-hmm.
and putting
Mm-hmm.
money aside. I canceled all like internet,
Yep.
cable, had
Mm-hmm.
my cell phone down to the bare minimum, just all of
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And I remember sometimes sitting in my apartment being thankful, right?
Mm.
I'm not doing
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do, but I'm definitely doing what I need to do. I remember even when I I lost my car,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I gave myself like 3 days to grieve over it, for real. And I had to be
Mm-hmm.
realistic. And at that time, I was working, but the one job I had, I wasn't making enough. I had gotten into a car accident, and because I was under 25, it shot my insurance way up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
do I be unrealistic trying to hold on to this car, paying this high,
Mm-hmm.
like between car insurance and a car note, paying $900, and I don't even have a house at this apartment or
Right.
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I
Right.
let it go. I had to
Mm-hmm.
be like for real. I'm
Yes.
like, it's only a few years
Yes.
that
Let
it'll
me
be on
let
my
me work this
credit.
out.
Yeah, just learning all of those types of particulars. And I had just
Mm-hmm.
gotten a new job. I was moving out of for profit, I mean, nonprofit into the for profit industry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I got more money. And I remember the new supervisor, she was like, "Oh, you don't want to lose your car, it'll mess up your credit." Like that was one, because they did, as an insurance company,
Yeah.
they checked all of that stuff
Right.
on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I have to, because it's not going to be realistic
Yeah.
because of the cost of the insurance. And,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a lot of those like moving parts that was going on, and just
Mm-hmm.
deciding, what is going to work for me, right? Because some
Mm.
work
Right.
environments were not even healthy workspaces. And a lot of
Yes.
times,
Yeah.
you know, having the unction to either go through it, because it's better for you to stay there and let them get rid of you, so
Right.
that
Right.
they have to
Right.
give
Mm-hmm.
you unemployment and just different
Yeah.
stuff. So learning those dynamics, right,
Mm-hmm.
about adulting,
Mm-hmm.
About
about
adulting.
knowing when and how to choose you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of the
Yes.
ghetto hoods is adulthood.
And
Yes.
and that's important because learning how to choose ourselves over
Hmm.
everything
Ooh.
else that is going on, right? Mentally, that's because that's not something that we are trained to
No.
do. We are
Right.
especially those of us in the church world, right? We're
Right.
trained to prefer everyone before ourselves. And then
Right.
when
Yep.
we get to a place, we're like now looking like, well, who's going to prefer me? Who's going to be there
Right.
for me?
Right.
How is this going to work out for me? And that's not a selfish thing. If they're not selfish
Mm-hmm.
questions, they really are
Hmm.
not. They are. They're not questions where we are denying ourselves. And that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that's important in today and in today's conversations, that we don't deny ourselves of the things that we
Yourselves.
need, even
Right.
in the situations and the circumstances that we're dealing with, right? Because it's a lot. It
Yes.
takes a toll on us. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that's really, really hard is when I don't have stable income, that messes with my entire everything.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
When I
Yes.
don't know
Yes.
where my next is coming from, or that check is
Yes.
coming from, or when it's coming in, it
Mm-hmm.
messes with me. It messes with me, not just mentally, but emotionally. It
Yeah. Yeah.
messes with
Yeah.
me. It messes with all of that's concerned. It messes with me physically because
Mm-hmm.
now I don't even feel like I want to look okay. I don't.
Mhm.
Yes.
How
Yes.
I dress and how I present myself, it changes because I'm dealing with so much. And how, in that respect, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we
Yes.
need to be aware of who we are of where we are and how to get through. Because that's one of the conversations, Overseer Banks, that we had. You were like, I'm on the other
Mhm.
side of through. Maxine, I know
Mhm.
we have talked about this in the past where you're like, I came through that. I didn't stay in it, but I made sure
Mhm.
I kept moving. I made sure that I continued to keep the promises of God in mind. I made
Mhm.
sure that I kept the things that God had placed in me and that He said to me,
Yes.
and then I
Yes.
continued
Yes.
in that and not what my circumstances and situation look like today.
Yes.
And so I guess my question to you would be, for those that are dealing with these things today, because you both of you are on the other side. You talked about the careers that you're in now. You talked about
Mhm.
your educations and the degrees because both of you are amazing, and have obtained higher education, and you're learning and you've received degrees on many different levels. And I applaud the both of you for being who you are, and not giving up on yourself in that respect. Because a lot of people would
Right.
have been like, I don't have a job. I can't get to that, and so if I can't get that, then I'm not going to continue in my education. But your education is part of your worth. It's definitely part of your entire worth. And so how would you encourage others to continue in their situations while dealing with life, because we all got to deal with life, right? While dealing
Mhm.
with life as a whole, what would you say to your younger you? Let's do that. What would you say to your younger you today, Maxine?
Hmm.
Couple of things, right? Um,
Ooh.
One of the things is,
Hmm.
it makes me think about the scripture that talks about like bridling our tongue and how life and death is in the power of our tongue. And
Mm-hmm.
I think people really underestimate how they how powerful your words are that you speak out, no matter what, be it for yourself, be it for those around you. Your words have life to them. And
Mhm.
when they land, you want them to land and not be like swallowed up, right?
Right.
You want it to
Yeah.
actually fall into good ground and be fruitful. So, one of the main things I would say is be mindful of how you speak.
Mm.
Um, Another thing I would definitely say is get financial education,
Mm.
because one of the things I notice about a lot of people, one of the biggest discouragements come in is because you don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I remember, if I take it from not being spiritual, I remember watching the show Girlfriends,
Yes.
and I
Mhm.
remember the episode where Joan had decided she didn't want to be an attorney anymore, and she wanted to pursue something else, and she went and opened up a nightclub. And all her friends were nervous, like, "Oh, what you gonna do? How you gonna pay your bills? Da 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 da." And Joan was like, "Oh, I have a year's worth of my salary saved up."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when she said that, I said, "She is an attorney.
Mm. Mhm.
Yep.
Like, this is
Mhm.
six figures, easy." And she's saying she literally saved up a year's worth of her salary.
Mhm.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Which goes back to about us, when I think about things like that, right, from a financial stewardship perspective, It makes me think about, the 5 talents and the 5 coin
Mm-hmm.
scriptures. But
Mm-hmm.
mainly, like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the 5 coins, when he talks about to one, he gave 1 coin, the other, he gave 3 coins, and to the
Mm-hmm.
other, he gave five, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that had the five bought back five more. The one that
Mm-hmm.
had the three bought back three more. And the one that
Mm-hmm.
had one took and buried it, like calling himself saving it to have to give back when he came and he got rebuked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, it would you would think like, oh, why he didn't spend it, he didn't lose it,
Mm-hmm. You would think.
so why is he being rebuked? And the thing is that when we are given things from God, we're supposed to be making it grow.
Yes.
And the rebuke about it was, I didn't give this to you to stuff it and hide it. I
Mm-hmm.
gave it to you to release it so that it can come back to you
Mm-hmm.
twofold, double
Mm-hmm.
what I gave
Right.
you. And a lot of times I feel like a lot of people are stuck in that 1 coin mentality
Mm.
and not
Ah.
necessarily taking the accountability and learning all that they can learn.
Mm.
We can't it and a lot of times we know that there are systems set up to not
Yeah.
allow especially black people in America to succeed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things we kind of fell off on was teaching each other different things that we learn within community, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you think back, like back in the
Yeah.
day of when they
Mm-hmm.
had like the Tulsa
Yeah.
community, a
Right.
lot of people don't know
Mm-hmm.
like how that was working across states. Like
Right.
some of the
Mm-hmm.
funding that they received to be able to build down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they was receiving from like more affluent black people here in the city of Philadelphia, for
Right.
example.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Like financing
Mm-hmm.
them or knowing stories like how when the stock market crashed,
Mm-hmm.
black people really didn't know, right?
Right.
Because the system that they set up to
Was
keep
different.
us down
Right.
backfired on them.
Right.
And
Exactly.
because we weren't investing in the stock market and we were only doing things within our own community, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that the economy was had
That's
tanked.
Mm-hmm.
because they were
Mm-hmm.
investing there. So right, we had the black stock, the black um market, right? So that
Right. They didn't
they didn't invest into, and that's a great point because they didn't invest into others. We invested into ourselves,
ourselves.
and
Yourself.
there
Yes.
were things that occurred that that stopped us from believing and investing in ourselves
Mm-hmm.
In
and
our
Mm-hmm.
community and in
in
each
our
other.
communities and in the things that
Yep.
we do. And so that it is very important that we remember who we are and the worth of our work
Mm-hmm.
and what we do. And the other thing that I heard you say was it's about the networking. It's about our
Mm-hmm.
networks because our networks are definitely our net worth. And
Yes.
so if we
Mm-hmm.
really reach across and
Mm-hmm.
do the things that we need to do and have
Mm-hmm.
that speaks to our support systems, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
speaks to what we need in order to help us to continue and to do the things that we need to do. And when we do that, it helps us in our mental, our physical, emotional. It helps us in all
Mm-hmm.
of our health that is concerning to us. Overseer Banks, what would you say to your younger you?
There was three things. One, trust yourself.
Mm,
Um, trust yourself because a lot of times we don't. I didn't know. I think younger, I didn't trust me to a certain
mm,
extent, right? I didn't know to trust me, I should say. Um, I put trust. I was the youngest of four girls, so my sisters are they're way older than me, and
mm-hmm,
so the sister I was next to spoke for me. I had
mm,
everything Mama couldn't get. They made sure I had.
mm-hmm,
Um, so when I got to start getting older, I had to start speaking. I didn't trust me. I trust. I leaned on my sisters and them. I didn't have to. Whatever I wanted, I got.
right.
I didn't realize this till I got older though, because I had to sit and analyze some things in my life. So I would say trust me. because I trusted my family. I trust my sisters. They handled it. They made sure I was well, right?
Mhm.
But as when you get older, you have to trust you.
Yeah.
I can't trust them to do what I need to do.
Mhm.
The second one was acknowledge the red flags.
Mm.
Um, I've had plenty. I didn't trust me, so I didn't acknowledge the red flags.
Mhm.
Because if I trust me,
Mhm.
I would have questioned the red flags.
Mhm.
Because there was things that I shouldn't have done, or I shouldn't have made that decision just yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I didn't trust me enough to question it.
Mm.
And the last thing was stick to the plan. I had an educational goal from the beginning. I knew, had the whole plan from, I had the plan.
Mhm.
I knew what I was going to do. I had my son early. I was, a young mother. I even worked it out where I would have a housekeeper when I went into um, residency. I
Mhm.
had it planned. Stick to the plan. I
Mm.
changed the plan because of someone else. I was married, and I'm not ashamed to say that I left a job because I was trying to save the marriage.
Wow.
But it takes two. And
Right.
so we have to, and I also learn you have to be careful what you ask God for,
Mm.
because I never had a problem getting a job, but that was the last job I had. I asked God for it. I made great money, and the insurance was free for the family because
Mm.
Kaiser Permanente at
Right.
the time, when you worked for them, you didn't pay health care for your family.
Right.
So I got I walked in and got the job. I worked graveyards while I went to school during the day. So after 3 years, I left the job. I left right, but
Right.
I thought I was doing the right thing, and it wasn't.
And it
Even though I
took
was doing
you
the right thing,
into.
that doesn't mean that God said do it. So I prayed and asked him for something. He gave it to me, and then I left prematurely. So it took 22 years
Mm.
for me to get. So I recognize that. So yeah, those were some major things. I would trust me because I used to trust my family.
So there
Um,
are so many
mhm,
lessons learned
mhm.
through the process.
Yes.
And today, you both are overcomers. And
Mhm.
you have overcome so many obstacles that thought
Yes.
were going to stop you. You have overcome some things that were put in the way in
Yes.
order to hesitate you and to deter you and to detract you, right? And to
Yes.
detour you
Yes.
into
Yes.
doing other things. But I am so grateful and I'm so glad that you both continued to hold on to your faith. And in
Mhm.
holding on to your faith, it has gotten you through
Yes. Mhm.
everything that thought it was going to stop you. And now
Mm-mm.
you are the strong, independent, confident,
Mm.
women that you are. And can't nobody tell you what you can or
Come
cannot
on.
do. Because you will achieve everything. Because both of
Mhm.
you are sticking to the plan. Both of
Stick it to the
you have the faith.
yes.
Both of you
Mhm.
are investing in yourselves. Both of
Mhm.
you continue to seek God for everything
Mm.
concerning your
Everything.
life. Both of
Mm.
you continue to be who God has called and created you to be,
Yes.
no
Yes.
matter what. Both of
No
you
matter what.
have taken everything that thought was going to knock you down and you stepped on it and you made sure that it built you up. Both of you,
Mhm.
I am so excited and I am so grateful and I'm so thankful that
Mm.
I have relationship with women like you
Mm. Mm.
who not only
Amen.
encourage yourself, but you encourage others,
Yes.
including me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
including me,
Yes.
to
Yes.
continue and be
Yes.
who God has called me to be. And as we watch one another, we
Yes.
invest
Yes.
in one another. And I
One
think
another.
that's one of the things that's truly important. The network. Max, you said it. It's about,
Yes.
seeing
The network.
and being a
Yes.
part, right? And the
Mhm.
networks that we have, like I listen, this is a new network, right? This is a new network, right? I
Yes.
say we
Yes.
launch, we launch
Yes.
into new
Yes.
relationship. Y'all wouldn't
Yep.
know each
Yes.
other unless we was here right now, but now you do.
Come
And
on.
I am so confident that now it's going to be some more conversations ahead because you're going to be able to encourage
Yes.
and empower and inspire one another because you're going to be like, guess what? I got that house. Guess what? I got that other
Mhm.
job. Guess what?
Mhm.
My company is launching and it's going. And guess what? My ministry has
Mhm.
taken off
Come
because
on.
of the
Mhm.
conversation that we had where we
Mhm.
said we're having an overcomers conversation. And
Conversation.
look at us
Mhm.
now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I want to add to the mental health part of the
Yes.
discussion. Um, I think it would be like a little foolish to not acknowledge it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was some dark times. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I
That
can't
part.
Mhm.
even act like it wasn't. Like
It was.
depression didn't try
Mhm.
to conquer me. I remember one day laying like sitting in my bathroom just crying, and I remember like we talking about our community, and our network. I remember my friend Dana calling me, and
Mm.
Mhm.
she was like, "You don't sound good. I'm coming to get you."
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
or having a friend like say a friend of mine named Tasha saying that one day how God had just spoke to her clear as day and told her to give me $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Or having a friend like Chira knowing I had to work all the way out in King of Prussia say, "Oh, I got this
Mhm.
extra car. You could use that,
Come
you know,
on. Come on.
till you get
Come
your
on.
car." Things like
Yes.
literally after a
Yes.
while, once I got past that heavy bout of depression, like God
Yes.
literally allowed my community to step up for me in areas
Yes.
when I didn't have family to do that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
I think it's not off on me to give acknowledge to that,
Right.
both
Right.
from the mental part of it, because it
Mental.
definitely, and it's interesting. I remember that day,
Yes.
like one night, just crying, and just literally hearing God clear as day to ask me why won't I talk to him,
Mm.
Mm.
and I was like, I don't want to talk to you because this is too much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was in those moments that I was able to hear God clearly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, and I think sometimes we underestimate those what we looking at as like a struggle, but not realizing how that's kind of like a downtime for
Right.
us
Yeah.
to really
Yeah.
be pouring ourselves into God, to be
Mm-hmm.
completely
Yeah.
honest with you,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
being busy right now, this is one thing I like kind of feel guilty about sometimes because my job is very time consuming,
Right.
and I
Mhm.
don't get that time that I used to have at that time
Mhm.
Right.
of being able to
Mhm.
pray and being able to read my word, like, and meditate on it, day and night. You
Right.
kind of lose that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the things that you will probably go through bouts of self doubt, bouts of
Mm-hmm.
depression,
Mm-hmm.
second guessing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but again, it really goes into like really checking ourselves and
Mhm.
what we speak in life to and about to ourselves.
Yes.
That's
Because
true.
it
Yes.
Yep.
really, I don't think people
Yes.
realize how much of a difference it is when you do speak the opposite of what you're going through. Like how you were
Yes.
saying, your
Yes.
mom said to you, you know, you don't
Mhm.
even have no job and you looking at furniture. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I don't
Mhm.
want to solidify this being my final destination.
That's
Come
it.
on, come
Yep.
on.
That's it.
You know, so that's something I do from a mental health, from a
Yes.
spiritual health.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I definitely want
Emotional
to
health,
acknowledge.
emotional
And
health, yeah, all of it,
yeah,
all of our
it
health.
because it's all entails, and it doesn't fall like without us learning something out of it. You know, I
Right.
learned
Absolutely.
Right.
more strength for myself of what I could withstand. I
Right.
learned that
Yes.
there's some things I didn't need to withstand
Mm-hmm.
at
Yep.
all.
Yep.
Some things I actually needed to release and let go of. You
Some
know,
Come
things
on.
we
so
need to
it's
release and
definitely,
let go
And
you
of.
let
know,
go.
things that whatever you want to learn and get out of whatever it is, be it good or bad, of positions and
Yeah.
roles that you're in or state of being you're in, it is up to you
Good.
It is.
how
Yes,
you
it
want to come
is.
out.
That's it. That's
It's
it.
not
Yes.
going to be
I,
easy, and I'm
It's
not
not.
saying it like it's easy. You know what I mean?
no, it's
But I
not.
think
Right.
people give up on themselves
Yes.
too
Yes.
soon.
And
Yes.
they do.
I just want
And
to say,
go ahead.
um, and you're absolutely right. I'm a very positive person. And because the world is negative, life is hard, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes challenges, family, home. So I always want to be positive, and because it attracts that type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So even in my darkest night, it's like I don't have to be that when I walk out. I don't want to put that out on someone else.
Right.
Um, you know what I'm saying? I want to be
Mm-hmm.
positive. I want to give that so I can get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you're right. If I can't now, right now, I'll share this. Right now, I say I'm in my own school. I've been in my school, my own class for 6 years. I'm getting ready to graduate this year. And what I'm saying is all the correction that I gave other people, all the encouragement I gave other people, all the guidance and the counseling. Well, now it's time for me to take my own advice. So
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I've been sitting with LaTanya, restoring
Right.
LaTanya back to LaTanya because there were bad decisions I made. There were some decisions I shouldn't have made. I stayed in some situations too long. I
Mm-hmm.
allowed people to hurt me. So now I got to look in the mirror and say, girl, you made a bad decision, but you looking good. I have to do that to myself. If I
Yes.
could do it for you, it works for me too.
That's it.
And a lot of times, a lot of people put on a mask. I lived that life before, that image. Well, it's not about an image. We're supposed to have the image of Christ anyway.
That's
So if
it.
I don't love me, how can I love you?
Right.
Right.
So I've been sitting in my class, and you're right. The affirmations, I give myself the affirmations. I build myself up now. Self talk to me
That's it.
so that when I walk out the door, I'm authentic. So now I'm mastering love. I want to love everybody. I don't care how you come. I'm supposed to master love. It ain't my job to define
What
you
that
and
is.
all your stuff.
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm just
Right.
supposed to love you
Right.
and
But
love you.
you wait before you go there because I don't know who I was talking to. But we had this conversation about we're
Mhm.
supposed to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, right?
Yes,
Self.
yes.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself,
Love yourself.
And love your neighbor. Hmm. Are you genuinely loving your neighbor? Yep.
There you go. Because
because you
we
don't,
fake. We put on
it's
facades and we can
fake
say great
love,
talk.
and we gotta stop
Hmm.
doing that.
Yes, yes,
Right.
We
yes,
gotta stop doing it. Listen,
yes.
my my good sister friend, Minister Onika Greer, love
Mhm.
you. She's on here and she said, "I am my sister's keeper," and that is listen.
Mhm.
she,
Yeah.
I am my sister's keeper. She also said it's about collective works and responsibility. And
Yes.
it's even us
Hmm.
coming together in this
Yes.
conversation right now. This is a
Hmm.
part of our collective work and
Yes.
responsibility.
And
In
responsibility. Yes.
Right. And it is showing, just like we just said, the Bible
Yes.
says we are to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So we are
Yes.
showing the love of ourselves
Hmm.
and showing the love of others by sharing and being
Yes.
overcomers by the word of our testimony, by
Right.
Yeah.
having this overcomers conversation to let people
Mhm.
know. Oh, I love you know I love unique. Let people know that listen, you're not in this thing by yourself.
No, you're
Right.
not. No, you're not.
You're not. And there are
No,
a
you're
lot of
not.
times when we feel like it, but you're not.
Yeah,
And just
you're
like
not.
Maxine said, like there are times when we just pick up the phone. It's like, hey, you good? No, I'm
See,
not.
right,
Be honest.
right.
Oh my God, I'm so
Yep.
sorry. Be honest. No,
And
I'm
it's
not good
okay.
in this moment. And that's okay.
Yep.
That's
That's the
how we
truth.
get our help. That's how we get our
Yes.
Just don't
strength.
stay there. Just don't stay there.
Don't
Don't
stay
stay
there.
there. But it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay. It's okay. And and we need those safe places and those safe spaces
Right.
where
Yes.
we can say it's not okay.
Right.
And we have to like just like you were saying earlier, we got to be able to trust.
Yeah,
Trust is a big thing. It is a
it
huge.
is.
I'm in a conversation with someone right now, and they're like, "Chai, you lost my trust," and I'm like,
Hmm.
"I don't, I don't understand and how."
Hmm.
And that's where you are concerning me right now. And
Yeah.
in our relationship, though, in
Hmm.
relationship,
Right.
Hmm.
how do we not know one another to know that no matter what, I'm here for you? I don't.
Right.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Let me just say this real quick. I don't mean no harm. I don't mean no harm. But Maxine and I, honestly, we can go months without talking.
Hmm.
I mean
Hmm.
months. And it's not that, just like she said, I'm in a new career, I'm in a new job. Like I
Come
now have
on.
this position where it's very,
Hmm.
it's taxing and it's a lot and da 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 da. And that don't mean that she don't got love for me and I don't have love for her. That don't
Right.
mean that when I
Right.
come to mind, she not gonna be like, "Child, you good?"
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Out of nowhere. That
That's
don't.
right.
Literally, I don't know when last time I talked to her. It was months ago. It might have been for her birthday a couple months ago. But because there are some things that we definitely have to do every year because we got relationships. These are things we
Right.
do, and so it is what we do. That's what we do. And but honestly, but we haven't
Yeah.
had like a conversation. I didn't reach out, and I text her today, like out of the blue,
Hmm.
and here we are tonight. Why?
Hmm.
Because relationship matters.
Yes, it
Right.
does. Yes, it does.
And
Yes.
relationship helps us in our mental, our physical, our spiritual. We're supposed to be there for one another no matter what.
No
And
matter
it
what.
doesn't hurt to get counseling.
At all.
Huh? And what? Did I hear?
It
Wait,
does
what?
not hurt to get counseling. I went to
Mm-hmm.
counseling and it helped me with me
Yep.
because I'm looking for me and other people, or I have these high expectations. That taught me that I have high expectations, and the high expectations I have on me, I put on other people. Let people be people
Yeah.
Yes.
because they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
disappointed.
Yep. Yep. And I did the same thing. I listen. I went to counseling. I love my therapist. I love her to this day,
Yes.
and I know that if I need her, I can call. Got a little, but I know, and you know what? And here's the thing that I also realized and recognized, so God will provide in your time of need.
Yes, he
Yes.
will.
And
Every
when
time.
that seems to dwindle out, that could potentially mean that your season of that need has now passed.
Yes. Yes.
Cause I noticed how like it wasn't a problem me paying my therapist every week. It wasn't a problem.
Right.
Then it
Right.
became I was like, where did it go? Like why is it
Right.
now a little bit of a struggle?
Mm-hmm.
It was oh but
Mm-hmm.
again, we have to see and we have to hear God in everything.
And
Right.
everything. Yeah.
Cause he will provide.
Absolutely.
Yep. Every time. Every time.
Absolutely.
And
This
own it.
Own
Don't,
it.
it might not have been my fault, but it's my responsibility.
It's my
I
My
used to say that a
responsibility.
responsibility.
long time ago. So I take responsibility for my life. I can't,
Hmm.
I've had made some bad decisions and some bad things happen to me. I was traumatized, but I can't blame anybody because they hurt me. They hurt me. It was purposeful to get me where I am today. So I
Today.
thank you. I thank you for abandoning me. I thank you for discarding me, rejecting me. Thank you for cutting me off. You helped
Mm.
me get here. But that's something you learn later, right? Because it hurts
Right.
when you're already vulnerable and you're already broken and
Right.
people just keep taking advantage of you.
Hmm.
That doesn't feel good.
It doesn't.
But when you get to know you, you trust yourself and it stops. Enough is enough.
That's the
So I
growth
had to
part.
tell LaTanya, no more homelessness.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Yep.
No
Yep.
more, no more lack. Enough
Hmm.
is enough.
Enough is enough. Yeah.
Hmm.
Enough
And
is
that's
enough.
just and that's just like what Maxine was saying about investing in yourself. Like I didn't give you this to bury it, but I gave you
There you
this
go.
to grow it.
Yes. Yes.
God didn't give us
Mm-hmm.
to bury
Mm-hmm.
and become depressed and not continue to grow and live and to
Oh,
share.
oh, that's good. That's
That is
good.
Yep.
how we are and why we are who we are today. I love you two ladies to
Love you too.
absolute life.
Love you too.
Love you too.
I
Yes.
mean, and I thank you for this life changing conversation because you both let others know that the situation that you're in right now is
Mm.
not your final.
Nope.
No, it's not.
Not your final destination at all.
There's other things for us to do. There are more places for us to go. There is so
Yes.
much more for us to obtain. And there are
Yes.
so many more for us to impact.
Yes. Yes.
And I thank you both for
Yeah.
being the impactful, phenomenal women that you are. Onika just said, she said, the breaking leads to the rebuilding in order to get to the blessing. Wait,
Yeah.
me,
Yep.
wait, twin, you, I twin, you trying to sneak and preach up in here. Come on here, twin. The breaking leads to the rebuilding in order to get to the blessing. It takes
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
You got to do the
Twin,
work.
twin, you you working up on something here,
Yeah.
man. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
tell you, twin.
Maxine did her work, and LaTanya had to do her. We have to do the work, our own work.
Yeah.
Can't
Do the
nobody do
work.
that for me.
Chira did her
That's why I
work
say we
too.
have to own it.
Chira did
Yes.
her work.
Yes.
Chira doing her work.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
We
her work.
we doing our work. We
Did her
doing our
work.
work. And
Painful.
It makes me think about, the scripture and talks about the refiner's fire, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like how, some things just have to be burnt off of us,
Aha.
to get that to the shiny part of the gold,
Yes.
not
or like
Yes.
being a diamond, like diamond is made in very like hot, dark places, you know what I mean? But when it's found, it's like one of the most brightest stone. It's a bright stone, you know what I mean? So it definitely is a need for us to be
Yeah.
able to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, y'all. My light keep going out of the screen.
your light can
Um,
never go out. Your light will never go out. You will always shine, man.
so yes, absolutely. Like, just
Yeah.
want to add to that, to what Onika was
That's
saying.
good.
That it's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely true. Sometimes we gotta
Yeah.
be, broken. It makes you think about,
Mm-hmm.
the when you think about like with a butterfly, like how it goes from a caterpillar and goes through that whole breakthrough process. So it's definitely, something to think
Hmm.
about what we're
Yeah.
going through. And it's a little sad because it's been a lot of like suicide rates, and that is one
Yeah.
thing that is
Ooh.
very hurtful, is just hearing how, when you think about it, how the pressure was just too much for some of these people, and it's like, man, if you could just not giving up on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's not,
Mhm.
they couldn't do it,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful to God for giving me the grace to not give up on myself.
Yes.
And
I
is it
thank God.
also about your
Thank God.
your community and your network as well that
Yeah,
doesn't give up on us, and us
Yeah.
being able and allowing ourselves to hear even our community and our network so that we can receive the things that they're telling us so that we
right,
don't give up.
right,
Yeah.
And it's and maybe it's not just a give up on ourselves, but it's a not give up. Just don't give up.
Just
right,
don't give up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just don't give up. Not
No. Hmm.
don't give up. Not no, don't give up because
Like they
there are
say, pray
those.
that one more prayer. Pray one
Yeah,
more time.
what
one
If
more
you put it,
time,
you put in an application, put it in one more time. Just
one
come
more
on, just do
time,
it one
yeah,
more time. Yeah.
because it's that one more time that
yep,
That's it.
it's that one more. You
yep,
know
Out of
what?
all the
No,
no's,
I'm gonna
you're
keep
gonna get a
trying.
yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like the scripture talked about when they were out on the water and fishing all night and wasn't catching nothing, and then Jesus comes and tell them to cast their nets to the other side,
Hmm.
and the fish darn near broke the net, and they like, well, but at first when Jesus told them to do it, they like, we done been out here all night, we done did all of
Hmm.
this, we ain't catching nothing, and he
right.
like cast it to the other side,
Do what I said.
and it's just that, like, we don't know the plans and the resource that God has, on us,
Right.
and it also teaches you about understanding timing and seasons that you're
Hmm.
in life,
Hmm.
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 because it just may not be your time for that
Right.
particular path or life to walk in. You
Right,
know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
right.
that's a whole
That's right.
nother thing to
Yes, it
think
is.
about.
It might
That's
not be.
right.
You know what, man? You're right because it might not be
Yeah.
your time for that,
Hmm.
but it's
Yep.
definitely your time for this.
For this, and to just to be here,
And to
period. You know
know.
what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do what
Mhm.
you got to do in this, and I'll get you to that.
Yes.
But focus on this.
Right.
Hmm.
Focus.
Hmm.
God. God
Yep.
says. He says focus on this.
Hmm.
Stop trying to get to that when you ain't do
Yeah.
this. You didn't
You didn't
finish
do this.
this.
Right.
Finish
Come
this.
on. Come on.
And you'll
Yep.
get to
That's,
that
hmm,
in the right
don't jump
time and
ahead.
in the right
That's
season. But
right. That's
focus
right.
on the focus on do this, get this, be in this.
Hmm. Hmm.
See,
And the work is like
y'all too
focus on
good.
this. Do the work.
Do,
Work on that
Do the
bitterness.
work.
Work
yes,
on that
I mean, but
disappointment.
think about that. That's what the scripture says. Faith without works is what? It's
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 dead.
dead.
dead. Hmm.
So it's
Got to
life
do
in
the
the
work.
action.
Yes. You got to do the work.
You got to do the work. You got to do the work. And so, and I love this work that's getting done. Thank you, Maureen, for being on. Onika for being on. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, your love. Some reason it just stopped on my mind, on my end. Yeah. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it just stops. And sometimes we gotta
Mm.
pivot. We gotta repivot and we gotta redo this in order to get to that. But we gotta
Mhm.
finish this. That's,
Yeah.
This.
I just heard a whole. I'm not even gonna go there. I just heard a whole. We gotta finish
Got to finish
this
Yep.
in order to get to
mm.
that. But
To
Together.
I
that.
can't
Yes.
get that unless I do this. We want to skip
Mm.
this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. We this. Stay in this.
Yes.
Y'all
Stay in the
got me.
race.
Y'all done got me started.
Yes.
Listen, I
Yes.
need y'all to give a final word to those that are on, those that will see this. I need you to give a final word. Overseer Banks, give a final word to those that are on.
God promised, and in the darkest time, in your most challenging time, one scripture do. You don't need to know them all. Just if you can remember one and hold on to that word and keep reassuring yourself with that word because God is faithful to his word.
Mm-hmm.
And when you give him back his word, he has to respond.
That's it.
Amen.
He has to respond. But in the meantime, do the work on you. Work on your heart. Work on your mental. Work on you before you go to give judgment or to give anybody else advice.
Mm.
Let the word work for you first before you try to give somebody else the word.
I could, I, I could, and I'm not. We gonna park that right there. Park, park. Work on you before you start trying to work on it with. We gonna park. Max, Max. What is your final word to those that are on tonight?
Um,
Because, baby, you got a word. I'm just going to say this real quick. I'm just going, because those of us that know Maxine, yep, I'm putting it out there. Those of us that know Maxine, we know the word and the worth of her words and the impact of who she is wherever she goes. This lady right here is powerful. And so, I'm sorry. Because go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet because she's a secret weapon. This one right here. Oh, go ahead, Max. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I know you're gonna fight me later.
um,
You can call me later. And you can fight me. It's okay.
if I would just really just encourage people to, like she said, to feed yourself the word. Um, there's a lot of life giving scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
life affirming scriptures. And one of the things
Mm-hmm.
God said is that He's always with us, even to the end of the earth. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something we need to be encouraged and hold on to, and reminding ourselves that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God, and actively affirming what the scriptures are saying to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And above all, no matter what your situation is, always speak life to
Yeah.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. And at the
Always
end of the day, faith without works is dead,
Mm-hmm.
do something.
and we speak life. It's in the power of our tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So get up
Yes.
and do something.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do something with ourselves, for ourselves, because of ourselves. We got to do something. And the
Mm-hmm.
something will take us from this to that.
To that.
I love y'all. I appreciate your time. I
Love you too.
appreciate your
Thank you.
words. I just appreciate you and all that you have done in this overcomers conversation because you both
Mm.
are overcomers and we are continually to overcome
Yes.
because there's always something that we
Yes.
must overcome. And
Yes, it is.
through our community of one another and our networks that we have, we are
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to overcome. And I am so
Yes.
grateful and I'm so thankful that God has connected us and He
Yes.
continues to keep us and all of us that are on. Thank you, everyone that joined in the conversation. Pastor
Yes.
Wanda, Elder Greer, Maureen, Pastor Pompey, Overseer Ferrer, and all those that I didn't even see that were on and that were hearing and that received from this overcomers conversation. I know that you were blessed. I know that you received what you needed in this. You received what you needed in this. And now
Yes.
take this
Yes.
and get to
Hmm.
that. I'm Pastor
Mm.
Yes,
Tyra.
ma'am.
That's Maxine James. That's Overseer
Yes.
LaTanya Banks. And
Yes.
I say thank you so much. Blessings. Have an amazing night. And we'll see you next time. Stay tuned because you never know when we're going to be live. See you soon. Blessings.
All right. Mm. Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Craziness. Craziness. Okay, it's coming. All right, I'm watching it. Okay. You off?